What's up, XFactor Nation? This is XFactor 27 coming back to you guys again today. I got another banger from Sports Keto Wrestling. Shout out to him as always. Link to the original video will be down below. But it's mainly talking about CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, the main event of night one, if you guys didn't know, how that can change WrestleMania 41. I have my own theories about it. I want to see if me and Sports Keto thoughts line up together, man. So I'm not gonna waste no more time. Let's go and get into it and see what my boy's talking about.
Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins triple threat has been cooking for quite some time, and all of the dots are truly starting to connect. This is by far the most star-studded match on the entire presentation for this year's WrestleMania in Las Vegas. And by that logic, it certainly deserves the main event position it's being put in. Now that we know it's going to be the main event of at least of one of the two nights of WrestleMania, it feels like fans have been trying to peel back the layers for months now. CM Punk has teased it for months, only for it not to be revealed exactly just yet. And by what we're talking about, we mean the favor. Yes, the favor that Roman Reigns' right-hand man, his wise man, Paul Heyman, owes the one-time Paul Heyman guy, CM Punk. What is that favor? And how will this play into the rest of the year for CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and everyone else involved in this very compelling story heading into Las Vegas? This is Sports Keto Wrestling. I'm Kevin Kellum, and you can do us a favor by hitting the like button and getting into the comments and letting us know what you think Paul Heyman's favor to CM Punk is exactly. We've all been anticipating.
Okay, I'm gonna pause right quick before he gets into his get into his bag. But my theory is um the favorite is Paul Heyman joins back up with CM Punk and betrays Roman Reigns, and that could shake up a whole foundation. That's just a whole year's storyline just right there. But I'm gonna see what my boy's talking about first, see if we line up with it.
That the favor that Paul Heyman owes CM Punk to be quite consequential, especially with WrestleMania on the horizon. The favor is something that Punk declared Heyman owes him for joining the OG bloodline as they went to war against Solo Sikoa's bloodline at Survivor Series in 2024. And now that favor could be revealed soon. WWE played directly in this, only for it to be revealed that CM Punk wasn't the actual favor. In hindsight, we all got played and keep playing us. It seems just a little bit too obvious, maybe. So what on earth could that favor be? And what is Paul Heyman going to do to make amends with CM Punk and pay back his debt? Let's gaze into the pro wrestling crystal ball to see how this scenario could play out in several different ways that are both unlikely and very possible. One of the more unlikely paths we could go down here is Paul Heyman arranging a world title shot for CM Punk if he wins this big triple threat. You're gonna find out in every scenario we lay out here, CM Punk is winning big at WrestleMania in his long sought after WrestleMania main event. Yeah, and almost every scenario involves Roman Reigns taking the pin. Don't worry, Roman Reigns fans, he can take it, and you must acknowledge that.
Yeah, Roman can take a pin. I mean, Roman is so established right now, one pin is not gonna hurt him completely at all. So he's right about that.
The reason for this is that Roman Reigns is about to have his 10th WrestleMania main event, despite a rather maybe underwhelming up and down year for the Tribal Chief after losing big in Philadelphia and the end of his momentous world title reign. But even then, Roman Reigns being the one who gets pinned means that it could extend CM Punk's feud with his bitter, despised rival in Seth Rollins. They got to open up WWE's Raw Netflix era in a huge way, and their documented hatred of each other is really prolific. It's worth noting that Rollins and CM Punk are 1-1 in the recent matches with each other. Punk winning at the Netflix premiere, and Seth Rollins pulling out a technical victory inside the cage match due to the interference of Roman Reigns in Madison Square Garden. So in this scenario, CM Punk would win the main event of WrestleMania 41 Night 1 and John Cena would likely win the main event of night 2 against Cody Rhodes. We even have a video describing why John Cena needs to win that title at WrestleMania. Check it out on our feed. At the end of the main event, CM Punk, standing tall, confronts his old rival Jonathan Cena, setting up a blockbuster clash down the line, where WWE can advertise their last ever match against each other, and that's going to be a big element of a possible John Cena world title run in 2025. It's his last year in the business. It would get a massive pop and end a WrestleMania with foreshadowing of what's to come after WrestleMania, which is kind of smart when you consider that WrestleMania is one of the most watched shows of the wrestling year. But if you feel it's a little bit too underwhelming, we could see your point in that. For one, WWE is going to hold Backlash, their follow-up premium live event, in St. Louis, Missouri, the hometown of one Randall Keith Orton, Randy Orton, and a Cena versus Orton match also seems like a possibility. It's also worth noting, Cody could retain the title, and that's a whole different thing that's also been sort of teased. And
Yeah, but sorry to interrupt the video, guys, but pretty much if they do, John Cena does win, and when CM Punk wins this match, because I feel like he's gonna win it. If they have a feud, it needs to be SummerSlam. That would be a great. I know they say it's SummerSlam. I think I could be wrong. This year's gonna be 2 nights, so I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that, but that would be a good night too. If they do the 2 night format, main event for real. So if it's just a regular one night, either way, it needs to be the main event of this pay per view, whatever, whenever it happens.
an Orton Cody match. So there's a lot of possibilities here. Like I said, we're just laying them out. It's not hard to justify a big confrontation between CM Punk and Cena and not immediately follow up on it, especially in today's WWE, where they're always reminding you of past conflicts between superstars underneath the surface of whatever that superstar is doing currently. Okay, scenario 2. Paul Heyman leaves Roman Reigns for CM Punk. Doesn't it feel like it's time for the wise man and the tribal chief to break up? Oh, yes. Oh, Paul Heyman parting is such sweet sorrow. If you think about it, there really isn't maybe much for the Paul Heyman-Roman Reigns partnership to accomplish that they haven't already done already. 10 WrestleManias, everything with the bloodline, that historic title reign. Heyman has been his wise man throughout the last 4.5 years, and Heyman has been an integral reason why the Roman Reigns character is so successful right now. And out of the consecutive WrestleManias, he had the same freaking title. Paul Heyman was right there for all of it. They've reached the pinnacle of the industry together numerous times over, and beyond hyping up the tribal chief momentum, it's hard to see them being able to achieve anything together, maybe beyond what they already have. On the other hand, Paul Heyman's business with CM Punk can pick up possibly where it left off a full 11 years ago. Okay, that may not be really true. It's a heck of a lot to change and suddenly go back to 2013, but the fact that Paul Heyman and CM Punk haven't been working together directly per se in 11 years means that there's clearly something they have left to achieve together. Perhaps the favor is Paul Heyman turning on Roman Reigns to join CM Punk again. That would be a pretty huge pair of egos together. Can you imagine a groveling, tears in his eyes, desperate Heyman interfering on Punk's behalf to physically cost his tribal chief Roman the Mania match at a critical point? At least in this case, CM Punk has a definitive history, and it can be all kickstarted for a heel run. Yes, a very heelish CM Punk could prove Seth Rollins was right for the past 15 months or so, and also start an epic feud with Roman Reigns as a babyface and CM Punk as a heel. Yet when you listen to how over like Rover CM Punk is with WWE fans who are still very, very pumped that he came back to WWE, it could be doubtful for him to turn into a baddie when he's such a good goodie right now. Still, a Roman Reigns CM Punk feud separate from Rollins feels possible. Something that was teased, at least subtly, on SmackDown recently when all three men were featured in segments that have been viewed millions of times online.
Yeah, and that's what I think is gonna happen. But because that's a feud right there that can last months. That's a SummerSlam or paper feud that can be at SummerSlam as well, man. It's just like Triple H loves long-term storytelling. So I would personally like if he left Roman, because Roman really don't need him no more. He's the OTC, OTC, YTC, so many letters and stuff. So you really don't need Paul no more. And Paul Heyman being back with CM Punk like the old days, like in 2013, like Sports Keita said, couldn't help it, man. That'd be very good. So
Yes, they insinuated there's a possibility there. When Roman declared that CM Punk must acknowledge him, Paul Heyman had some initial physical trepidation about whether or not CM Punk would acknowledge Roman Reigns, and he did so in a kind of very sarcastic way. CM Punk perused that contract hard, and Paul Heyman, oh, so sincerely, gave him a kiss on the head, saying, "You're finally gonna be a WrestleMania main eventer, buddy, yeah!" And don't worry, it's in there. I made sure it's in there. What is it? This could be interpreted in two ways. The first being that Heyman knows Punk is a loudmouth who is smart with his responses, and he would most definitely say something like the tribal chief didn't like that, as Roman Reigns doesn't like being talked down to, and who does in WWE? On the other hand, it could be Heyman maybe hinting at his true alliances, and this being the favor would make a lot of sense to start a new story post-WrestleMania. Another scenario being added here could thread night 1 to night 2 of WrestleMania, as we saw last year at WrestleMania 40. This is probably the most unlikely thing we're going to present, and it would be too out there and maybe break Triple H and his creative team's style of booking. But there is essentially a possibility. We're just laying it out. Main event, night 1, Paul Heyman would announce that is a favor. The winner of the match, in this case, CM Punk, would be added to the main event of night 2 with Cody Rhodes and John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship. What a twist. While we would love to see a full circle moment where CM Punk pulls off the heist of the century and runs away with the WWE Championship, it actually makes very little sense to do that.
Yeah.
For one, the story between Cody Rhodes, the valiant fighting champion, and the now hubris ego-driven John Cena would simply have CM Punk sweep in at the last minute, added to the match. It doesn't have that riveting thing, and it would deter from John Cena, who is now a bad guy, being a bad guy against the biggest good guy that is Cody. Scenario number 4, the ultimate favor and the pursuit of revenge. This is one we could deem as much more likelier to happen, and it would lay out a long-term storytelling at its best. In this case, we would see Heyman organically and formally informing Roman Reigns that he was going back to CM Punk's side. And it wouldn't be a betrayal. It would be a simple parting of ways, an emotional one, and honestly, that type of breakup is quite refreshing as compared to the traditional backstabbing, which has their shock and awe elements. Maybe this would be something different. With Roman Reigns gone for a while, CM Punk would have Paul Heyman by his side, but his very clear mission statement to go after corporate John Cena and the TKO board member Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Ooh. Now, CM Punk would have Paul Heyman as his wise man on that mission and that pursuit. It would, of course, be under the assumption that Cena is the WWE champion and he is Rock's champion, and they are the new force to reckon with at the top of the card. It would be consistent with CM Punk's stance of John Cena and Rock, especially after the scathing comments he's made about them throughout the years. It would also be a perfect way to tie up his story with The Rock and Cena, leading to at least one blockbuster match with the new evil champion Cena. Now, here's a scenario, number 5, and well, we'll admit this one's a little bit crazy. Not only does Paul Heyman betray Roman Reigns to join CM Punk in this hypothetical situation, but the favor involves CM Punk actually joining forces with John Cena and The Rock. It would be an insane twist, a huge diversion from the type of character that CM Punk has that is very, very over, but the implications of it would be massive. It would arguably be even bigger than that one night in 2025 at the Elimination Chamber, and it would create an ultimate 3-man power trip with the wise man doing this strategy. And the idea would lay out kind of a war with people picking sides. Cody Rhodes and a few aligned superstars would take on this opposing evil force, setting up the biggest non-bloodline storyline in years. There's so much potential that could come from that. You could see Cody Rhodes defeating CM Punk before getting his revenge over Cena, and all of it culminating at next year's WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans, with Cody Rhodes finally facing the final boss. CM Punk becoming corporate would be the ultimate betrayal, especially for the guy who's punk rock, but it would also undoubtedly prove why this era of WWE is one of maybe the greatest ones, because anything and everything can happen and build to huge moments and payoffs. Imagine seeing CM Punk as a villain again, and you know he loved playing a villain in the past. This time with the men he fought against at his side. The difference between now and then would be that these three men, now veterans in the tail end of their careers, would have something in common. They refuse to relinquish their position to a younger generation. It would be a compelling story that would weave in a lot of talented people and also play out in a way where maybe those part-time players, you don't need every week to play out the overall story, but still have their names in the mix. These are all ifs and buts and hypotheticals, and maybe you have another one. How would you like to see the story play out with CM Punk's favor that is owed to him? Let us know in the comments below.
Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Wow, there were some very good scenarios. But my favorite two are, number two is the one where Paul Heyman betrays Roman Reigns and goes with CM Punk. Number four is, I kind of like that one actually. Paul Heyman teaming up with CM Punk betraying Roman Reigns still. Well, not betraying him, but mutual agreement. And he goes after the corporate John Cena, man, and that would be very cool for real. I really like that scenario. I like both of them, but I feel like the latter is gonna be number two for real. So, what do you guys think? You guys let me know down in the comments below. But as always, thanks for Skeeter for the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and you guys please go check them out and like and comment on my page as well if you guys want to. But other than that, y'all guys have a good day and X Factor out.